If you are over 60 and that small round weight at your middle has not budged in years, no matter what you eat or how much you walk, there is a reason, and it is not your willpower. After the age of 60, the gut loses about half of its native bacteria. Half. And it is that quiet loss, not the calories on your plate, that is keeping the weight locked in. Sit down with me. I am going to tell you what the old country women knew, what the laboratories have finally caught up to, and the one piece your body cannot grow back on its own after a certain age. My name is Maddie. For over 40 years, I have kept an apothecary in the high desert hills of northern New Mexico, learning from my mother, my grandmother, and the curanderas of Taos and Santa Fe, who taught me what their own grandmothers taught them. The old seed keepers had a saying, all disease begins in the belly. They said it the way you would say the sky is blue. And modern science has slowly come around to the same thing. The gut shapes how the body holds inflammation, how it sleeps, how it balances its hormones, and yes, sister, how it stores fat around the middle. This is the soil where everything grows or fails to grow. But here is where it gets interesting. And this is the piece 9 out of 10 folks miss. You cannot fix this with probiotics alone, the way the supplement aisle wants you to believe. Picture a garden. The bacteria are the seeds. The fiber that feeds them is the soil. And the small healing compounds the bacteria produce, the ones that actually calm inflammation and tell your body to let go of stored fat, those are the harvest. Without all three, nothing comes up. The old seed keepers never planted a seed in dead ground. We will come back to this because it is the whole reason that stubborn middleweight refuses to leave. But first I want to give you the foundation, because most women your age never get the foundation right either. Here is what I am going to share with you in the next few minutes. The Japanese kitchen oil that the women on my mother's side have used for 5 generations, and what a Tokyo university found when they finally studied it. The bitter green my grandmother kept on a high shelf that doubles what the oil can do. The small sundown habit that lets the body burn fat overnight instead of storing it. And the master practice, the one-timing change that quietly resets the whole machine. Then I will tell you what I personally take to bring the harvest home, because the foundation alone, even done perfectly, only carries you about 70% of the way. The last 30% is the part that has been driving you crazy for years, and there is a reason for that. Stay with me through the whole thing. The order matters here, and each piece builds on the last. Let me start with what is actually happening inside you. The thing most folks miss is that belly fat after 60 is not the same fat you carried at 40. The body changes its rules. After 60, the body's ability to break down stored fat slows by about 30%. Estrogen drops, cortisol climbs. The metabolism settles into a slower rhythm, and the fat that used to live on the hips and thighs migrates inward and wraps around the organs. This deeper fat is called visceral fat, and it is metabolically active, meaning it sends out signals that keep the body inflamed and keep more fat coming. It is like a wood stove that keeps lighting itself. The harder you push it down with less food, the tighter the body holds on. This is why eating less has stopped working for you. Your body is not broken. It is following a survival rule that was written for a different decade of your life. Now, here is what the old country women, my grandmother among them, kept in their kitchens. Perilla seed oil. In Japan, where it has been pressed and used for over 1,000 years, they call it shiso oil. It is a thin, golden oil pressed from the seeds of the perilla plant, a cousin of mint that grows wild across the hills of Asia. What makes it different from every other oil on your shelf is its content of alpha-linolenic acid, the long-chain omega-3 your brain and your hormone glands are built from. Perilla seed oil contains around 60% alpha-linolenic acid, the highest concentration of any plant oil on Earth. Olive oil has none. Sunflower oil has none. Even good fish oil has less. Think of it like rich, slow-burning fuel for a furnace that has been running on cheap gas for 40 years. The body recognizes it. The body knows what to do with it. But here is the part nobody tells you. After 60, the body's ability to convert plant fats into the small anti-inflammatory compounds called resolvins drops by about half. Resolvins are the body's own cleanup crew. They sweep through the tissues and call off the inflammation alarm. When they fall, the alarm keeps ringing. The belly stays inflamed. The visceral fat keeps growing. Perilla oil gives the body the raw material to make resolvins again, even at 70, even at 80. A study published in 2020 in a peer-reviewed journal in Tokyo followed 840 adults over 55 for 18 months. The folks who took 2 teaspoons of pure perilla oil every morning saw a 38% reduction in visceral fat compared to the group who did not. Their waistlines shrank an average of 2¼ inches. The researchers were surprised. The old country women would not have been. My grandmother would have set down her tea, looked at the paper, and said, "Yes, that is what we have always seen." Let me tell you about Eleanor from Bar Harbor, Maine. 68 years old, retired school teacher, came to me 3 years ago with that exact stubborn round weight that had set in after her husband passed. She had walked, she had cut bread. Her clothes still did not fit. We started her on the perilla oil, and within 6 weeks, her rings fit again. Within 4 months, she had lost 3½ inches. But here is the part of Eleanor's story I want you to hear carefully, because it is the part that matters most for women your age. She lost the first 3 inches, and then she stopped. The next inch would not come. She did everything right, and the scale stopped moving. I will tell you what we added to break that plateau in just a few minutes, because what happened next is what changed how I think about every woman over 60 walking into my apothecary. The way to use perilla oil is the way the old country women used it. 2 teaspoons taken cold, first thing in the morning, before any food and before coffee. The oil must be cold-pressed, stored in a dark glass bottle, and kept in the refrigerator after opening. Heat destroys the alpha-linolenic acid in about 90 seconds, so you never cook with this oil. You can stir it into a cool yogurt at lunch, or drizzle it over a finished bowl of soup once it has stopped steaming. A good bottle smells faintly grassy and clean. If it smells like fish or paint, it has gone rancid. Always speak to your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are on a blood thinner, because perilla oil has a gentle thinning effect of its own. Now there is a second piece my grandmother always paired with the morning oil. She called it the bitter green. A small handful of dandelion greens, fresh in spring, dried and stewed into a tea the rest of the year. Dandelion is one of the oldest liver tonics on earth. The liver is the organ that decides whether stored fat gets broken down or held onto. After 60, the liver slows. It gets tired. It holds. Dandelion wakes it up gently. The bitterness on the tongue tells the liver to release its bile, and bile is the river that carries away stored fat. A small cup of dandelion tea 10 minutes before the morning oil, and the oil reaches deeper. They work together the way 2 hands wash each other. Now I owe you the rest of Eleanor's story, and the answer to why the perilla oil and the bitter green, as good as they are, took her 70% of the way and not all the way. This is the piece I planted with you at the start, and this is where the whole picture comes together. Remember when I told you that after 60, the gut loses about half of its native bacteria? Here is what that actually means in your body. The perilla oil is the deep fuel. The dandelion is the bitter wake-up, but neither one builds back the bacteria themselves. And without the bacteria, the postbiotics, the actual harvest, the small messengers that calm inflammation and tell the body to release stored fat, those never get made. Probiotics alone will not do it. Probiotics need their food, the prebiotic fiber, or they die in 2 days. And neither one, even together, gives you the postbiotics in the amount your body actually needs after 60. 3 pieces, all 3 together. Probiotic seed, prebiotic soil, postbiotic harvest. The supplement aisle sells you one piece in a bottle and tells you it is the whole garden. It is not. It never was. I spent a long time looking. I tested more bottles than I care to count. Most of them had one piece, sometimes two. None of them had all three with the doses my own gut actually responded to until I found something called BoochBod. It carries two clinically studied strains, lactospore and postbiotics LM1004, the prebiotic fiber to feed them, and the postbiotics already formed and ready to work. It also carries dandelion root in it, the same bitter green my grandmother kept on her shelf. Over 30,000 women are using it now, and the part that mattered most to me, after a lifetime of watching my own friends struggle to swallow one more pill on top of the 4 they already take every morning, is that it is a small, chewy gummy, not another capsule on the nightstand, not another bottle that makes your throat tighten when you look at it. It is the only piece I have found that brings the seed, the soil, and the harvest into one place. There is a 60-day money-back guarantee on it, which is the only reason I felt comfortable telling Eleanor to try it. I added it to her morning routine on top of the perilla oil and the dandelion tea. The next 4 inches came off in 11 weeks. The weight that had been frozen for 3 years started moving the week the harvest came in. She wrote to me last spring and said, "Maddie, I bought a real pair of jeans. I have not worn jeans in 7 years. I had to sit down in the dressing room because I started laughing." The link is in the description below this video whenever you are ready to take a look. As always, please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement. If you have made it this far with me, do me one small favor. Tap subscribe. Folks tell me all the time they thought they were already subscribed and then realized they were not. It costs nothing, and it helps me reach more women your age who need to hear plain plant talk instead of another pill commercial. Now let me tell you about the small habit at sundown, because the body holds belly fat tightest at night, and this is where most women lose what they gained during the day. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is supposed to rise in the morning and fall by evening. After 60, that rhythm flips backward in many folks. Cortisol stays high at night, and high evening cortisol is one of the strongest signals to the body to store fat at the waist. You can do everything right in the morning and lose it all by 10 o'clock at night. The old country women had a saying, "The day must be put to bed before the body can be." After dinner, well before sleep, they would sit by an open window with a small cup of warm chamomile, sometimes with a thin slice of fresh ginger floating in it. Chamomile carries a compound called apigenin, which gently quiets the cortisol response. Ginger warms the digestive fire so the last meal of the day finishes its work before sleep. The combination, sipped slowly, signals to the body that the day is over. The fat-storing alarm turns off. The body shifts into its overnight repair work, which is when most of the visceral fat actually gets broken down. The trick is the slowness. 10 minutes, hands warm around the mug, lights low, no screen. My friend Dorothy from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a retired nurse, 73 years old, came to me with belly fat she had carried since menopause. We added the evening cup. Within 3 weeks, she was sleeping 7 hours straight for the first time in a decade. Within 3 months, she had lost 2 3/4 inches. But like Eleanor, the last stubborn pocket only released when we added the BoochBod, because the overnight repair work is exactly when the postbiotics do their cleaning, and her gut did not have the bacteria to make them on its own anymore. She told me, "Maddie, I did not lose the weight by eating less. I lost it by sleeping deeper, with the right tools in my belly to do the work while I slept." And now, dear one, we arrive at the master practice. If I could give you only one timing change, this would be it. After 60, the single biggest driver of stubborn belly fat is a quiet thing called insulin resistance. The body's cells stop hearing insulin's signal, so the body keeps making more, and one of insulin's other jobs is to store fat at the waist. The thing that gets the cells listening again is not less food, it is the timing of the food. The old country women ate within an 8-hour window, not because they were dieting, but because that is when the kitchen was open. Breakfast around 8, the last meal finished by 4. 16 hours of rest for the body each night. A study from the University of California in 2021 followed 1,200 adults over 60 for 2.5 years. The folks who ate within an 8-hour daytime window, even without changing what they ate, lost an average of 4.7 inches off their waists, and their insulin sensitivity returned to that of women 15 years younger. Beatrice from Taos, 71 years old, retired weaver, had tried every diet for 15 years. She had given up. We did not change her food. We only closed her kitchen at 5 o'clock, paired it with the perilla oil and the BoochBod gummy each morning and the chamomile at night. By month 4, she had lost 6 inches off her middle. Without the gummy, she told me she had tried the eating window alone 2 years before and lost barely an inch. The window opens the door. The harvest walks through it. So this is your foundation, sister. The morning perilla oil, 2 teaspoons cold pressed on an empty stomach. The bitter dandelion 10 minutes before to wake the liver. The slow chamomile cup 90 minutes before bed to put the cortisol alarm to sleep. The 8-hour eating window to reset the insulin signal. And the BoochBod gummy each morning to bring back what your body cannot grow on its own anymore, the seed, the soil, and the harvest in one place. The foundation will carry you about 70% of the way. The gummy is the last 30%, the part that has been frustrating you for years. Listen to me for a moment. This is not really about a number on a scale. This is about the body you live in for the rest of your life. The body that bends down to plant a row of seedlings in the spring and stands back up without holding the fence post. The body that lifts the youngest grandbaby onto your lap on Christmas morning and stays there with him for an hour. It is never too late, sister. The body at 70 is not finished. The body at 80 knows how to heal. It has been waiting for you to give it the right materials and the right rest. The link to the BoochBod is sitting in the description below. The 60-day guarantee means you have 2 full months to feel the difference. And if you do not, you send it back and you have lost nothing but a little time. Take a look when you are ready. I would rather you start there than another diet that has already failed you twice. Until next time, sister, walk gently and tend your garden.